Hello, I'm Aoife from Eurogamer, and thank you all so much for coming to this developer session. Now, apart from all the stabbing and stealthing, I think what people really loved about the original Dishonored, or one of the many things, was its art design. And the second one I don't think is going to be any different, but it does have a unique look all its own. So here to talk a bit about that is Arkane Studios, and I'd like you all to give a warm welcome to Sebastien Mitton, the art director for Dishonored 2.
Hello everybody, welcome to EGX. Today we'll dive into the art of Dishonored. Let's start. Who said that? A visual masterpiece. Rare, beautiful. A unique gem. Unbelievable. A unique style. Artistic brilliance. This is you guys, this is the press, this is the players, and this is the fans. Thank you guys for being here today, and welcome in the home of the talented people at Arkane Studios. I'm the art director of Arkane Studios. I've been working there for a while now, for 12 years. Some people call me Meat, or Meat, or on forum if you see Meat, or Eagle Eye, this is me. And it started with Dark Messiah, 12 years ago, as I said. Then we've developed internally a project called The Crossing. Right after, I've handled some secret missions, including Bioshock 2 at 2K Marine, the Steven Spielberg Elemento project, and for Valve on the upcoming Half-Life 3. No, it's a joke. I lost the mic. I always have problem with mic. Okay, so no, it was on a different project, but and that was before the blast, Dishonored 1. So today, Dishonored 2. But what is it, visually speaking, Dishonored 2? I will explain. To me, this is a spirit, this is a philosophy, and this is a style. And the starting point is the recruitment. I do it at Ocean 11. I drink a lot of coffee like George, but also I hire the best talents in the world. So regardless where they are or where they're from, that's why my team is made of strong specialists, which is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way, because we have a lot of other talents at Arkane Studios in all the teams, level design, game design, artists, coders. Russia, Sergei Kolesov. To me, it's one of the best illustrators in the world. He moved in our studio some years ago. Look at this cover. We don't aim to simply produce visual for our games. We create art, applying what we've learned in our respective fine art schools. That means composition, color, perspective, and hopefully a message. So to me, Sergei is a killer illustrator, but he's also really talented in creating portraits, figures, and character design in general. Now, Poland, Piotr Jablonski. I clicked the day I saw this Tomcat Brothers project. So these are 3 illustrations from him. And a mail and a visit of our studio later, Jill, he was part of our team. It's a different project he did. What I like in general with these artists, it's that they are a bit crazy. They are a bit crazy like me. They have a strong personal identity and they have things to say. They make us travel through their mind in their visualization. And look how well he still fits in our dust district. And what I like is the way he translates my brief into a piece of visual narration. Each time, it's not just building or creating an environment. He adds some stories. He puts the stories from the game with the guards and the thugs. It's always like this, and that's really cool. And sometimes it has a high romantic note, like this dead body in the trash bin. Clay sculpture, that's quite a new process in this industry. I wanted to give a try to this new approach of fine art, close to what I learned at school. Here's the master at work, Lucy Min. This technique allows me to secure the look of a lineup. I can check the anatomy after the 2D concept and before the 3D modeling. You then save time with 3D modelers and everything is unified. We also had the chance to get our paintings and sculpture displayed in a museum in Paris. So that's quite cool. And here you can see the clay versus the digital painting. As I play to win, excellent references are key to succeed. That's what I repeat from Dishonored 1 and from other projects. The first page of Google is not allowed in my open space. Our giant bank is filled with the work of our masters. Our shelves are filled with books, with unique books sometimes. And here, for example, it's costumes, gesture, the lighting, the skin, how the light reacts through the skin. It's also life of citizens, anthropology. This is what we analyze and take inspiration from. But not only, we also have pulp illustrator that inspired us for the style and the way they work, old photographies that we gather and we select, sculpture. And seeking inspiration from our masters is really key to us. Here it's a piece of narration through the characters. And that's why we try to achieve with this illustration of the Duke. This illustration not only depicts a ceremony, it gives tons of details on the area through the dramatization of the characters. On the same vein, I repeat the importance of photo trips. It's essential to visit places and study. You don't bring only photo, you also bring notes that you can share with your team and develop. Notes, details, feelings, smells. It's really important to go visit, to select places and go there. Here we see atmosphere and lighting shooting. I did it 3 times, 1 time alone and 2 times with my team. It was in Long Beach. Because here the atmosphere is really special. It's like in India, the sun doesn't react like in London or in Lyon in France. So here you can see the depth. It's gigantic, and this is the main inspiration for the lighting of Karnaka. Here the same structures, level of details, the rhythm of the street poles, specularity. When you do it yourself, you analyze on site, and then you can develop it in your own project. Here it's some structures, the level of details, the smog. I have a small bug. All right. I have a bug. Let me check. Sorry for that, it's a small bug where it doesn't display the right slides. It's cool. So here's a reference of an old colony. It's in Orang, in Nigeria. And well, here it's the result of gathering good references, all in one picture, one visual. It's the Bay of Karnaka. You see the lighting, you see the setup, you see the mountain, which we use as a landmark. It's not super detailed, it's just a kind of mood board that leads people to the right direction. Then spirit, and it starts with my team. At the peak of the production, this is 70 artists working in or outside the studio, and that's a bunch of mustache, like you can see. So this is essential to me to sit in my team and to be interested in each individual. This is the only way to me to get the best out of them. It's really important to have this thing. And when we need to outsource assets, I do it in a studio close to us, so I can keep the energy of the collaborators as high as maximum. We spent a lot of time training to different techniques, as I said, and cherish our eyes to cutting-edge visuals, sculptures, photography. And one other key element of this journey are the brief and the high level of my expectation. For example, here you see the brief I made for the arms of Emily with the cut, the shape of the folds, the silhouette of the cuffs, the materials. This is really precise. It's not just a regular tube. And this is the same with the feedbacks. Good feedbacks are key for the sanity of your project. To get the best out of every member of the team. When I spot something wrong, they say, "Oh, you got me, guy," because I don't want to have things that I don't like. Though they all know that they will sweat a little bit. So I keep a lot of friendly pressure on this team that I really love because I built it and we work creating together. But I am an agile perfectionist, so they know that, and they know they will sweat, but the good spirit is preserved. In one sentence, members of my team suffer sometimes due to the quality at target, but once they see the results of their work, they really, really like it, and we all like it, by the way. Now I will talk about my philosophy with creating art for the games. So first, to me, art is not graphics. Too many people judge the visual of a game on focusing only on technology, shaders, poly count, etc. And I repeat it every day at Arkane, art is not graphics. That's how I shake up the habits of this industry. No matter how powerful your engine is, no matter on which console, old console or mobile phone you develop, if your design is weak, you fail, and your graphics won't save anything. And underlining this philosophy during Dishonored 1 has been a stunt. People now praise the importance of visual design in games. Okay, so let's try to see what we gain when we work with a philosophy on top of the art department. The benefits of a strong visual direction are multiple. All along the production, it motivates first my team. It motivates the other team of the studio. They understand where we go. They have fresh materials to project themselves in the upcoming features they will develop. It motivates myself. It keeps me full of energy. I'm happy to go at work every day. It motivates and excites our publisher. It also does make the in-store advertising look very cool and attractive. But more important, at the end of the day, the players enjoy a great and meaningful content and on badass graphics. So now you understand my willing to give a boost to the content from an early stage and from a project to another project. This is what I call raising the bar. And I repeat it every day at Arkane, like a mad guy. Dishonored 1, visually cool. Dishonored 2, let's raise the bar. Our tall boys were good designs, right? Now the clock works, raise the bar. And thanks to our freshly homemade software, the Void engine, we can also push the boundaries in every corner of the graphics. We build our own shader. You go to the programmer and ask for anything you want. You can talk with him. It's not a third-party software. It's your engine, your baby. It's really cool. We can even look to the past through a lens. we can switch from present to past. It's crazy. All right, so the serious stuff now. All the previous points result in giving the game a style. Lots of people ask me, this game has a style, can you explain a bit more? It's the result of all this philosophy, this mind spirit, this mindset. And it all starts at the edge of the known world, Karnaca. It's a main character in its own, entirely crafted from scratch. So, okay, at the very beginning, before the lore and the narration were developed by Harvey Smith, our creative director, we've talked together about the carryover of the first game. And Harvey said, corruption, crime, oppression, disease, magic, decay. This was his bullet points and the carryover. I said, cool, okay. I answered, good, my turn now. Sun, isolation, madness, El Dorado, frontier of the world. He said, deal. At this very moment, at the beginning, we've got both our themes and our visual pillars. And we were ready to build Dishonored 2. So my very first focus was to invent a path to our city. Because you have to understand that you cannot build a city like this. You put house and streets and it works. So even if it does not match exactly the future narration of Harvey, it helps me to fortify everything like for a real city. Really early in production, I pictured a coastline and a very few natives living there, a bit like the Kong Island. And I then decided to add settlers, all settlers. So what I said is two waves of settlers have shaped this city. One from the island of Morley, this is the far north, with tall blonde ginger guys. They started the deforestation and they built a small village. It's there, like the Cinque Terre in Italia. And time after time, it gave mixed race, ginger, kind of Mexican look. It was super cool. Then people from Bristol, which is the capital is Dunwall, more money, they want to hunt whales, they want to do business. They split the island in two and build a giant canal so that they can hunt whales, put them in the ponds there in the industrial district, and then go back to Dunwall with the whale oil. And they also started a more structural urbanization with boulevards, you have squares, even you have parks, where it's more richer districts. And in addition to these elements, Karnaca features huge trees that circles the city, a wind corridor that you can see at the bottom. You have silver mines at the top, quarries, and huge electricity mills at the bottom. So they make electricity with the wind from the peak. The more they dig into the quarries, the more they get silver, the more the hole is big, the more wind you have, the more oppressed are people in the district. So it's a loop, it's like a climate change in this area of the city. You still have the maritime layer with whale ponds, canals, whale ship, whales, whale oil. And you have networks of cable cars, small train station in the city that links the district between them. And my vision was to have inhabitants who make use of what the island has to offer. Whale oil, silver, winds, wood. So that's why you have these structures that are really tied to the environment you see around. Like in Dunwall, we create distinctive landmarks so that players know where they are in the city from mission to mission, and they fall in total immersion. I remember in Dishonored 1, we had the separated mission, and at some point we created what we call the Vista. And once we got this vista, we were able to say, oh, okay, the Golden Cat is there, the bridge is there. When I'm in the Hand Pits pub, I can see the tower, and everything felt really grounded in 1 second. So that's why we decided to do the bed this way, to have the mountain like this. It's like a character that faces you when you play. And when you play like the Mad Inventor mission that we have here with Hanson, you see that the Dust District is facing you, you can see the Palace of the Duke, and you really feel that you are moving inside a real city. Here, closer, it's a view that shows a rich district. You have some parks, some hidden harbors, small canals, and their dry dock. And even closer, you can find good piece of industrial design. It's our mark at Arkane to do that. And for the note, this bridge is level design and gameplay compliant. It's really important. At Arkane, we say yes to the player. So if you see something and you want to go, you should be able to do it. So it's a nightmare for artists or sometimes for level designer, but we make it happen. So you can notice there's a small guy here. You can walk on the cable. You can pass under. There is electricity, so you can deactivate electricity and use the rail. You can jump on the vehicle. So each time we do something, it's not just art for art, it's art for a game. And we stay cohesive. We give freedom to the player, but with cool designs. Now, closer at a street scale, you can feel the playground. So it's basic, it's just beautiful painting, but you can feel the verticality. It's an early concept, so you see the balcony, you can feel the reference from Barcelona, from Cuba that we brought to Dishonored 2. Another example, this is the Palace of the Duke. It's made of strong gameplay themes in Dishonored 2 per mission. So that's why we have Dust Storm in the Dust District. We have the Ruby Cube system kind of gameplay in Jindosh Manors. Here you have a different look because it's a different mission. So we try to tailor different and unique look per style of gameplay. Now let's enter a park. So the following pieces display the city some years before Dishonored 2. As I said, I think the city, I envision the city way before you play the game. This is the only way to build something solid. So see, it's years before Dishonored 2, and here the idea was some trees are too big to be felled, so they keep some trees, and they became kind of landmark in the city in some parks. And it gives a distinct flavor. We focused a lot on vegetation, by the way, during pre-production, as wood takes a big place in the look of the game. Now let's enter a building and feel the inspiration from the photo trip. Here it's inspired by Barcelona. Here it's Cuba. And by the way, this is pencil drawing by a guy I really love. It's Laurent Gapaya. It's all done by hand. It's this size with small pencil. And it took an hour to produce this the whole way. Usually works for movie pre-production, but as we know each other, it's working for us sometimes. It's really good art. Look, here Havana. I remember a documentary where you had trees in some broken building in Cuba, so I was like, wow, cool, we can develop that. And here also you have a sense of navigation you can have if you produce this piece in 3D. You have small stories with this hunter and the portrait of his dogs on the walls. Here it's a different interior done by another artist. So the apartment, the interior, they don't all have the same style as it took centuries to build the city, so you have different waves of style. And unlike the wall, and to create a contrast, the apartments use lighter color now, clear wood. It's all in a southern Victorian style. And everything is designed and crafted by hand. We don't photo apply texture on materials. We draw them ourselves. Oh, and if you look on walls in the game, you'll see some legends. So when we produce illustration, we try to think through the mind of the inhabitants. And the idea was like, imagine they think about legends, or they fear some beast in the forest because they hear some sound. So we developed a bunch of illustration, and we display them in the game on paintings framed. So yes, in Dishonored 2, there's even more visual storytelling. Generic props. We always make fun with generic props at Arkane. We say generic, but in fact it took us a lot of time to do them. But the point here is that there are details in each corner. When I do brief, I always imagine that we'll have to produce the asset for real. Some player will rush using bend time and don't see these details. Some will do the stealth playthrough, they land on a lamp, and they will see this kind of details. So that's why it's important to me to stay cohesive and detail everything. Okay, so let's do a quick tour in the game and look at the scale of some rooms. So it's bigger than in Diso 1. All right. Verticality, different ways to navigate, gorgeous environment, check. Here you clearly see how we manage the level of details to drive the eyes of the player. This is the trick in a movie. You frame and you show what you want the people to see. In games, you can look 360. It's super hard to drive the eyes of the player. So we have some tricks with level of details, with lighting, with colors, to drive the eyes on sight of the object you want him to see or to discover. Dishonored 2 is way more dense than its predecessor. I already said that. All right. We pay attention to every detail and make sure they fit in the world. So here, in opposition to the official technology you see in the game, it's from Gene Doge, the inventor. You can play the level on the booth at Bethesda. Here you see ammo crafted by civilians with what they gather around them. So we imagine that they gather objects and insects and stuff, and they craft their own objects. And I don't forget that all this is meant to be made by the inhabitants themselves, not by us. It's what happens during the production of our games. At some point, the game feeds itself. You don't need to gather more reference from outside, from our world to the game. You just have to go into the game and select, and you can create stuff. Except sometimes when Harvey Smith pushes to see his dream come true. He asked me to display this. Okay, so you liked our handmade technology in Dishonored 1, right? So you love to examine each uncrafted piece in this new world. So even we produce line of furniture, we don't copy them, we create everything. To small objects like the typewriter that people love. I don't forget our weapons also and multiple upgrades we have. And all with their unique styles. Here, the style is from the Void, so it's a bit twisted and weird. It's the timepiece device you use to switch to from past to present and vice versa. Okay, so another side of our passion at Arkane is to bring powerful and charismatic characters to life. Even if they die quickly sometimes. So I secretly hope that some of you will play the non-lethal playthrough and won't kill anyone, so they will enjoy the character design. So a new location, a new city, that means new people. So Karnaca is the home of a great variety of ethnic groups with quirky faces. And as you know, it starts with good references. After the photo ref, we do anatomy studies. Here, these are some sketches of the aristocrats from different genders. We have more women, more mixed race now in the game. Here, this is a civilian. And what's cool here is at some point, I had the idea to remove some shirts because it's hot, it's warm there, and to have the sun that leaves marks on people. And to me, this is a new visual feature. It's the body language, the position, the anatomy of the guy, but also the reaction to the environment. So it feels really true. It's not just adding big tattoos and say, hey, I'm from this gang. So here you can understand it's a worker or a miner, he works outside, etc. It's a blue collar. It's subtle details that make the difference and the world deeper. Also, I have a message I noticed a few times that in some projects or movies, there's a general trend to try to give a fashion look to characters with accessories and stuff, without paying attention to the anatomy, to the background of the character. And to me, it's a dumb thing. It's the wrong direction. And personally, I'm a descendant from a family of tailors and dressmakers, so I really pay attention to this. And at Arkane, what I see, what I try to achieve is a deep analysis of the dress code of the past centuries. And then, as a result, it's clothes that are well cut, adjusted, it's not loose, while hands, arms, legs, and face are naughty and have lots of stories to tell. Because to me, what's fundamental, it's the guy inside the costume. Their clothes are a medium to show their position in the society, okay, but their body, it tells their story, their origin. That's what I like. Okay, so good ref, yes. Good concept, yes. Good sculpt, yes. Good costumes, good skin, good hair shaders, etc. with our new tech. Yes. And before we end this presentation, and for those of you who are not at E3, I'd like to share with you the video we've displayed at E3. It's a world video where it's just the environment in motion. Oh, it's cool and big. So I hope you enjoyed this trip to Kanaka as much as we enjoy it every day at Arkane Studio. If you have a chance, go to our booth. It's the Bethesda booth, and it's the world premiere hands-on demo that we released today. And also, the game will be available on November 11 this year on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. And I will run off with a big thanks for your attention.
All right. So you should feel pretty guilty if you don't stop at least once in a while to check out the scenery during your playthrough. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Sebastien. We've got another presentation at 5 o'clock for Horizon Zero Dawn, so do come and check it out if you've got time. If not, have a great EGX. Thank you, guys.